Hopefully it doesn't blow up in my face. Well, I'm no HVAC technician. I'm just a regular guy. I went to the hardware store and picked up some fittings so I could make my own adapter. Well, here we go. Can of propane. Let's see what happens. One thing you need to keep in mind if you're going to do this is... Seems like just yesterday, Upper Michigan was a winter wonderland. With ice storms and snowstorms and blizzards. And of course, it wasn't long ago we were engaging in fun winter activities. Oh, yeah. Then the next thing you know, in the blink of an eye, all of a sudden, it's summer. Summer's great here in the UP. We can head over to Lake Superior, soak up a little sunshine. Then, of course, we can always jump in the big lake and catch a wave. Of course, with summer here, it's getting hot out. The mercury is rising. Kinda feels like you could burst into flames when you go outside sometimes. And of course, it's even hotter in the vehicle if you don't have any air conditioning with the sun beating down on it all day long. Not too pleasant going on a road trip. My old 1999 rusty Chevrolet hasn't had air conditioning in it for some time now. And it gets pretty miserable driving this thing in the summertime, no AC. I would kind of like to rectify that situation, but I really don't want to spend a lot of money on this old truck. It just is not worth it. I'm going to need a new compressor and accumulator to get this thing working again. I shopped around a little bit, CarQuest, AutoZone, O'Reilly's, and this is about typical for the prices for a new AC compressor and accumulator. About $316 for both. Plus I would want to replace the finger screen in there at the very least. Well, after a little digging, I found an AC component kit at Rock Auto, which costs less for the entire kit than just a compressor from O'Reilly's or AutoZone or any of those other auto parts stores. So here it is, my Nuevo Compresor, an accumulator and finger screen and O-rings and everything. Well, I'm no HVAC technician, I'm just a regular guy. But I have worked on automotive air conditioning a little bit, and I've managed to get it going in the past. But I'm going to try a new twist on this thing. I remember years ago talking to a friend of mine about air conditioning systems, and he knows a lot more about this stuff than I do, and he was telling me that you can use propane in air conditioning systems to replace Freon, and he said it's actually a better refrigerant than Freon, more efficient. It's called R290. I remember when you could get Freon for around $1 a can. Well, not anymore. 18, 30, 35, 24, $41 for a can of Freon. That's crazy. The cheapest stuff here is $10 a can at Wally World. Outrageous. Now we move on to propane, also known as R290 refrigerant. $10 for 2 cans of propane here at Wally World, literally half the price of R134. Before I can do anything, I need to swap out some components here. Out comes the old compressor. I need to take this pressure switch off the old compressor and put it on the new one. Hopefully it'll still work. I need to dump some oil in this compressor before I install it also. One thing you need to keep in mind if you're going to do this is R290 uses different oil than R134, so you really should put the proper oil in here if you want the compressor to last any length of time. You need to use polyester oil, POE oil in R290. Don't use the R134 oil. And in goes the new. Well, I forgot to hit record when I put the accumulator in, but it's in there. Now I got my gauges hooked up. Just need to draw a vacuum on this thing and let it sit for a while, make sure it's not leaking. The leak check's looking good, so I'm going to use the vacuum in the system to draw some of this fluorescent dye in there. So if it starts leaking, I can better see where it's coming from. And the vacuum did work really good to pull in a couple ounces of this leak detector stuff. Oh yeah, love it. Just taking a look at my outside air temperature. Around 90, 92 maybe, in the shade. Well, here we go. Can of propane. Let's see what happens. I went to the hardware store and picked up some fittings so I could make my own adapter to hook up the propane tank right to the air conditioning manifold. The book calls for 24 ounces of R134 in this air conditioning system. Being that I'm using propane, which is R290, I know it's going to take less because R290 is more efficient than R134. So I'm not going to weigh it. I'm going to start adding the refrigerant and then keep an eye on the gauges. When my pressures get close to where they need to be, then I'm going to stop it and go with that. So let's see how it goes. Hopefully it doesn't blow up in my face. Well, here we go. Got the engine running at idle. AC as high as it'll go. Cracking the valve and letting some propane into the system. No flames yet. Easy does it, going slow. Starting to get a little bit of cool air coming out the vent. That's a good sign. And the pressures are inching their way higher. I'm just watching the gauges, and when the pressures get where they need to be, I'm gonna call it good. Well, this can's just about empty, and she's pushing about 185 on the gauge, so I think I'm gonna stop here and take it for a road test, see how we're doing, see how she feels. Well, it feels pretty nice. The air is nice and cool coming out of these vents. Cold, actually. Got it down to 38 degrees. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. This video is for information purposes only. I don't recommend you trying this on your vehicle at home. I would really hate for you to have an undesirable event. Hey George C., thanks for the inspiration, brother. I really miss flying with you.
Oh yeah, don't forget to subscribe. Thumbs up, baby.